All right, we're going to finish up our series we've been working on for the last maybe 4 days or so, talking about your internal why. We talked about your vision, we talked about your mission, we gave some great examples, some personal client examples, and also some real world examples, some big companies that you see out in the real world and how they use their internal why to make decisions for their companies. So we're gonna land this plane. We're gonna bring this bird down today. We're going to do our last episode today on the internal why. And of course, we'll talk about it more throughout this 365-day series that we're doing, or 365-day challenge. We'll definitely be mentioning it more. But for this particular series, we're going to bring it to a close today, talking about your internal why. All right, stay tuned. Welcome to the Tremain Show. I'm Tremain Davis, and today is the last episode talking about your internal why. We did a series over the last few days, and I think it's been really good. I've been getting some good comments and some good feedback about the internal why. A lot of comments, people were saying they just didn't know how important the internal why was, or even what the internal why was. So I think these videos have been helpful for some people to really understand why they need to start developing a vision, why they need to start developing a mission. Just like we talked about yesterday, it helps with everything. It helps with focus in your business. It gives you a place that you can make decisions from that you may not know how to make. How do you pick employees? How do you pick how do you pick investors? If you have a mission that says one thing and your investors are not that concerned about it, they just want money back, they just want a return, you don't want to go with those investors unless they understand that one of your core values and core principles, when it comes to your vision and your mission, is whatever. It could be customer service, could be community empowerment. If your investors don't understand this going into the investment, then it's not a good investment. It's not a good investor, for you to take on, because they're not aligned with your mission. All money is not good money. So that's something that we talked about this week. I think it's been a really good conversation. I wanted to end this series by just giving you an explanation and showing and telling you about the differences between the internal why and the external why. Now, we talk about the external why a lot on this channel, but I haven't formally given it the name external why. And I did that the other day, and I just thought about it. I was like, I haven't talked about the external why much. All right, so all business itself is based on the why. The companies that can answer the why for all of their stakeholders are the most successful companies on the planet. Everybody has to have a why. And every company has to be able to answer the why for every stakeholder group that's involved with their business. So what's the why for your investors? What's the why for your community? What's the why for your customers? That's probably the most important one, of course, because they're the ones who are actually giving you money for your product and your service. So you definitely want to start there. We've talked a lot about customer development and how you do that. But what's the why for your customer? What's the why for your employees? What's your why as the CEO, the person who is actually starting this business? What is your why? So the companies that can consistently answer the question of why for all of its stakeholder groups are the most successful companies on this planet. So that's where you want to be. You want to be a person who can always answer the question of why for one particular stakeholder group. Like I said, you always start with your customers. So when you have a why, which is the overarching thought process that I just explained to you, it breaks down into two parts. You have your external why and you have your internal why. The last few days, we've been talking about the internal why. The internal why is your vision, is your mission. Like I said, that's where I generally start when it comes to my clients, my company personally. When I do talks and business talks, when I'm teaching my students at the universities, I talk about vision and I talk about mission. But there are other mechanisms that you can use to explain and articulate what your internal why is. You can use core values. You can use purpose statements. You can use sustainability statements. There's so many different ways that you can encapsulate what your internal why is. You just have to have one. I start with vision and mission. I think that's the path of least resistance that really gets to the core of why you do what you do. And I think it really is a good way to explain what your internal why is. Your external why on the other side, that is all of the business stuff. So you have the internal why, which is all of the reasons why you do what you do. Then you have your external why, and that's all of the reasons why whoever is engaging with your business from the outside, why they do what they do. So that would be your customers. That would be your investors. These are all people who are engaging with your company from the outside. Your internal why are all people who are engaging with your company from the inside. So that would be your employees. That would be you. Strategic partners, things like that. So that's how it breaks down. External why, internal why. So on the internal why side, like I just said, we have vision, we have mission, and we really kind of work through core values and different things like that. On the external why side, guess what? We have talked a lot about the external why. We just haven't given it a name. So we talk on the external why side about your value proposition, your value chain, your business model, customer development, all of the things that we talk about on this channel most frequently all go into your external why. So as you can see, you have your external why being heavy on the business side of things. So how do you actually make your money? What customer groups are you serving? What problem or set of problems are you solving for that customer group? What end of the pricing spectrum are you going to be on? Those are the three pieces of your value proposition. All of this is encapsulated in your external why. So when I get started with strategy development with a company, I always start with the external why, because your internal why is important. Trust me, it is so important. But you got to have a business first. And so we start with the external why to see if you even have a business. You have to, it's good to have goals. It's good to have, the BHAG, the big, hairy, audacious goals. It's good to have a mission, that people can follow you, and you can march on and you can go out and get it done. But you got to have a business that's making money. You got to know who your target audience is. You got to know what set of problems you're solving. You got to have a great business model. Your value chain has to match up with the value proposition that you're putting in place. Like all of those things is where you start. And I talk about this on the channel all the time. If you have a new idea, even if you're an existing company, you just want to bring a new product or service to market, you always start with your external why, okay, which is your value proposition, your value chain, and your business model. That's where you always want to start. That's a way that a litmus test that you can always use to say, hey, is this a good idea? Well, listen, let's figure it out. Let's start asking the right questions. And so getting to the bottom of your external why, which again is the why for your customers, why for people who are engaging from outside of your business, okay? The outer engagement of your stakeholders is all encapsulated in your external why. So that's why it is, who is your target customer? What problem are you solving? Why would a customer come to your establishment? That's your external why. Why would a customer give you their hard-earned $20 or their hard-earned $50 for one of your products or your services? This is your external why. So that's the difference. You have your external why and you have your internal why. That is all business breaks down into. I keep it simple on this channel so you guys can really understand how to break business down, how to look at business, how to approach it, how to approach new ideas, how to launch new ideas. Always keep it as simple as possible. Your external why, your internal why. This is the easiest way to break down any business on the planet, including yours. So if you haven't done this before, and I know this may be new information for a lot of entrepreneurs, take some time and start working through your external why, which we do a lot on this channel, and your internal why, which we've just done a series over the last 3 or 4 days that really talks about the internal why. All right. Tomorrow, what I'm going to do, and I thought I was going to land this plane today, so we'll circle the runway one more time and we'll land it tomorrow, because as I've been talking, we have to talk about one more thing, which is alignment. So after you have your external why and your internal why all dialed in, and they look good, they have to have alignment, meaning that you have to be able to draw a line of sight between what you're doing on the business side and what you're doing inside of the office. Those two things have to match up. What you believe your company should stand for and what you're actually doing out in public with your customers, those two things have to match. We'll talk about tomorrow Walmart. Walmart got into some hot water because those two things didn't align. And they're a great example. And again, a company I think everybody has heard of. And I like to give examples that everybody has heard of. So anyway, just wanted to give you all the differences between the external why and the internal why. All business breaks down into the why. Why does anybody do anything that they do with or for your company? And after you have that idea about the why itself, then you can break it down into both of those two parts, which is the external why and the internal why. And I think I've given a really good explanation about what those two things are. So tomorrow we're going to talk about alignment, why those two things need to be able to see one another, and the problems that can incur if you have a great business over here and an internal why that doesn't match up with them. Because then it becomes something that's not authentic. People can't believe it because they say, okay, well, you're taking my money over here this kind of way, and then you're telling me that this is what you believe in over here. And it becomes disingenuous. People aren't stupid. You know what I'm saying? They can see what you have going on at your business. Again, a good external why, which is your value proposition and all that type of stuff, that's what brings people in the door. People stay at your business and tell other people about your business and come back for more and keep on giving you their money because of your internal why. So the external why brings them in the door. The internal why is why they stay. So that's why those two things have to have alignment, because they'll be drawn by a great value proposition. And then when they get in, they'll say, wait a minute, this company doesn't stand for anything. I'm out, You can have a great external why over here that says, this is how we, make our clothes, and, we love, sustainably, sourced clothes and products and materials and da-da-da-da-da. And then people get in and they realize that you're using, child slave labor in some developing country to make your clothes at such a cheap cost. People are going to be like, well, I don't want to be a part of this company. They were giving me a great value proposition, quality clothes at a cheap price. That's what got me in the door. But once they get in the door and they start looking around and start checking on your website and start engaging with your company, and they see that this is how you're actually producing those clothes at such a low price, they're not going to want to be involved. So that's why the internal and external have to be able to line up. So that's another conversation. Again, we're going to circle the runway one more time, and we'll land this plane tomorrow. As usual, like, subscribe, share. Hopefully you can send this information to all the entrepreneurs that you know. They need to understand the differences between the external and the internal why. It's a great conversation for every entrepreneur, every small business owner. They have to be able to understand the differences between these two things. It really will take your business to the next level. Also, as usual, the best form of support is just you being here with me today, and I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. I'm Tremain Davis, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace. This video is brought to you by Davis & Davis Investments and Management, a full-service business solutions firm. So whether you need one-on-one business coaching or training, or whether you need business strategy development, or if you just need to learn how to shoot professional videos from your iPhone so you can move some of your content online, we've been helping businesses win for over 10 years. So click the link below, grab your free consultation to see if we're the right fit for you.